For 1,000 years, the Roman Empire was the center of the known world. It gave us law, language, philosophy, and a monumental network of roads and aqueducts that still stand today. But it's a story we all know the end of. A long, slow decline that ended with a final, brutal collapse. The fall of Rome marks a clear line in our history, the end of the ancient world and the beginning of the Dark Ages. But what if that line was never drawn? What if, instead of collapsing, the Roman Empire had adapted, survived, and grown to become a continuous, eternal force in the world? What if the world we live in today wasn't a mosaic of nations born from the ashes of that empire, but a single, continuous civilization ruled from a city on the Tiber? In this timeline, the world is a single, unified entity, with a single language and a single set of laws, and it forces us to ask, is a world of eternal order and peace worth the price of its relentless, all-consuming power? This is a story of a timeline where the future isn't a series of new beginnings, but a single, unending age of the empire. The core divergence: a stronger empire. To prevent the fall of Rome, we have to address the key factors that led to its collapse. It was not a single event, but a combination of political instability, economic decay, and constant military pressure from outside forces. So, in our timeline, we'll make one key change: the rise of a new, long-reigning dynasty of emperors. Let's imagine that in the 4th century, a series of brilliant, strategic emperors came to power. They were not focused on military glory, but on stabilizing the empire's borders and modernizing its government. They would implement a series of radical, far-sighted reforms: a fairer tax system to prevent economic decay, a massive public works project to modernize infrastructure, and a new professional army that was loyal to the state, not to a single general. These emperors would successfully repel the barbarian invasions and then, instead of simply conquering them, they would incorporate them. The Goths, the Franks, the Vandals, they would all be brought into the fold as citizens, their cultures blending with the Roman way of life. By the time the Middle Ages would have begun in our timeline, this new, unified, and modernized Roman Empire would have been stronger than ever. It would have had a single capital, a single currency, and a single universal language: Latin. The Roman-dominated world, the new normal. Now let's fast forward to the present day. What does a modern world dominated by the Roman Empire look like? Language would be the most obvious change. Latin, which in our timeline became a dead language, would be the universal language of commerce and culture. It would be a living language, a global lingua franca spoken by billions. Spanish, French, Italian, and Romanian would not exist. Instead, they would be regional dialects of a much larger, more diverse, but still Roman language. The modern world's legal, scientific, and medical terms would not be derived from Latin, they would simply be Latin. Culture would be a unique blend of ancient and modern. Roman law, with its clear rules and emphasis on civic duty, would be the basis for a single, global legal system. Roman philosophy, Stoicism in particular, would be the dominant way of thinking, a logical and practical approach to life that has no room for the kind of emotionalism that has defined so much of our history. The aesthetics of the modern world would be a fusion of classical Roman architecture with modern technology. Our cities would be filled with marble and concrete monuments, magnificent aqueducts that bring water from distant rivers, and a global network of roads that are a marvel of engineering. Religion would also be a single unifying force. The Roman Empire eventually adopted Christianity. A surviving, continuous Roman Empire would have been a single, all-powerful, and global Catholic state. There would be no Protestant Reformation, no Eastern Orthodox split. This monolithic religious power would be a powerful political force, a single global authority that would have had an immense influence on every aspect of human life, from science to art to daily morality. Technology would be a different kind of marvel. Rome was a genius at engineering but lacked a scientific revolution that was driven by curiosity. In our timeline, A single, all-powerful empire might not have had the free market competition and the chaotic curiosity that led to our scientific leaps. The Industrial Revolution might have been a slower, more deliberate process. But Rome would still be a civilization of incredible infrastructure. Imagine a global network of high-speed rail lines that run on Roman-style roads, or a system of global aqueducts that bring water and resources to every corner of the earth. It would be a world of incredible, elegant, and efficient infrastructure, but perhaps a world with a slower pace of innovation. The unseen downsides, the price of peace. A world of eternal order and peace sounds like a utopia. But under the surface, a continuous Roman Empire would have a dark side. Stifled innovation. The single greatest driver of human progress is competition. A single unified empire with no rivals to challenge it would have little incentive to innovate. The Renaissance, the scientific revolution, and the Age of Discovery were all driven by a chaotic mix of rival nations, conflicting ideas, and the desire to gain an advantage. Without that chaos, our world might be a peaceful, orderly, and advanced place, but it might also be a stagnant one. Eternal hierarchy. The Roman social structure was one of deep, unyielding classes, from the patricians to the plebeians, and a large population of slaves. While the institution of slavery might have been abolished in a modern Roman Empire, the deep-seated social hierarchy would have remained. A citizen of Rome would have a place in society that was defined from birth, with no chance to move up or down the social ladder. The freedom and opportunity we associate with the modern world would be absent. Loss of diversity. A single global monolithic culture would have come at a steep price. The unique languages, traditions, and ways of life of countless peoples would have been lost to history. The world would be a beautifully uniform and orderly place, but it would have been drained of its rich and chaotic diversity. Is a world with a single unifying culture, language, and legal system better than a world of rival nations and cultures? What do you think would happen to the concept of human freedom in a world with a single, all-powerful empire that has lasted for 2,000 years? And in a world with a slower pace of scientific discovery, would humanity be more prepared for things like the atomic bomb? Or would we have been better off without it? In this timeline, the world avoids the chaos of the Dark Ages and the fragmentation of nations. It's a world of eternal order, of incredible infrastructure, and of a single, unifying civilization. But it's also a world of stifled innovation, of lost cultures, and of a constant, unwavering authority. It forces us to ask if the chaos and struggle of our timeline, with all its flaws, was worth the price of a future with 1,000 different voices. This timeline may seem like a fantasy, but it shows us just how balanced our world truly is. If you want to keep exploring the what-ifs and see how our world could be different, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Timeline Shift, and get ready for our next adventure.